All right, you can see what kind of day we're having with Apple. It's more clear that it's down instead of all this in between choppy. The only thing, it's bouncing off a little support on the day chart, like I said earlier, but this is a lot easier to trade with a higher probability of success when all the time charts and all the moving averages are going in one particular favored direction, which in this case is down. So the only thing I can see about Apple is that it's trying to bounce off a little bit of support on the daily chart. That's it, though. Got to keep an eye. I could easily break, though. But this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days down, hitting support. So it's possible it'll bounce today. It's possible this will be the lowest, but we're looking for it to go down. The next level is down in this area here. That's a nice drop. I don't think it's going to turn out to be a green day, so I think we're on a safer side probability that this is going to, even if it bounces, to roll it back down. So that's what we're going to try to do with Apple today. All right, let's take a look at what we did with Apple here. We started shorting immediately with a very tiny piece. Of course, it did create a pintail on the 5-minute chart over here. So we wanted to be very, very light on it. And we added on the 8, and then we added when it started rolling back down. So it's still a small size because it's at such a bottom. But we got a stop loss over the top of this red candle. Let me show you on the other time charts here, just in case that last add doesn't work out. If that last add doesn't work out, we'll get out of that last add only right up here and hold the other pieces that we held. So that's how we're going to play it. We're not going to exit out of the whole entire short because our goal is to add if it goes up higher. And this looks a little bit more sensible to start to short because we got a clear direction. The only problem is it's at support. So we could get stopped out of some of this and have to wait for it to go much higher to add to our position. And hopefully it'll keep going short today, or stay, at least stay a red candle today. You can see here on this chart why we have to sometimes get in even though it's already at a pretty low level. And what we did was we added and we kept our stop loss only on the added parts because our goal was to start small, build into it, and then as it goes higher, if it doesn't go higher, got to figure out where to add in anyway. And then but on those you have to keep a little stop loss because you don't know if it's going to go up, give us a better chance up higher. So this is just, hopefully we can trail this down to the bottom here and get out of, we'll get out of a piece of it and look for it to rotate up and come back and add some more to that again. Okay, it was nice to be patient this time, waiting for price to drop all the way back down here on Apple to the pivot where I exited out of some. Now everything's on break even at this point. Unfortunately, we had to start shorting at a low here, so we didn't have a nice drop. If we would have gotten in earlier, we could have definitely, got up here. This is an ideal spot right here, clearly, to short this thing. I got to start shorting. I got to start trading stocks that are having news. I'm just going to keep my eyes open to mega cap stocks that have news and just trade them instead of one stock every single day. Let's wrap up our Apple trade here. We got something in the news. I don't even know what happened, but there's a gigantic move to the upside here, which I'm okay with because we got out down here at the target and we had everything else on break even. So it turned out to be a good trade. And you can see how it's just taken off. Don't know why, but we'll be looking. The whole market's doing that, so we'll be. This is maybe our chance here now to find another short for Apple as it comes up, perhaps even on the hourly chart, back up into these descending trend lines and the downtrending 8 moving average and the 200 moving average itself. Let's go ahead and mark that as an area of interest right there. All right, now the problem with Apple is that it's above the 8 and 20 on the 5-minute chart, still downtrending on the higher moving averages, but it's above that. And then it's starting to cross over the 8, the 20, and the 50 on the 2-minute chart. So that's a little bit of a hiccup. It's got some mixed signals now. That's completely different when everything is down. Look at this. Before that happened, everything is down on this side, looking good. And before that happened over here, you can see everything. That's where we took our trade. Before that happened, everything's down on these sides of the moving averages. Now all of a sudden it's popped up on the top of all three, on the 2-minute and above the 2 moving averages on the 5-minute chart. So there we go with some mixed signals again. So I guess it's going to have to do that at some point if it's going to come up. So let's keep an eye on a possible short on it. At some point, if you're going to get a higher price to short, you're going to have to see the crossover. And that's where it gets a little challenging. You have which moving averages and which time charts are the most reliable and the strongest that I can trust. Is it the hourly chart, which looks clearly down? Is it the 15 is only bouncing off the 8, which if I was trading on the 15-minute chart, this would be a good place to think about. But that pintail right there, that strong move that we got right here up with high volume is something to really pay attention to. You know, if it trended up slowly with low volume and that had a higher price and the moving averages crossed over and all that, that's different than kind of like what we're seeing here with these candle formations and the volume and the way it just impulsively went up. So I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't go up a little bit more. Plus, it just had some good news about some legal case that it's going through with its products. So this could be the low of the day for sure, and a reversal into maybe what we're seeing up here on the daily chart, some kind of a pintail, where it goes back up and it starts to come up to that 20 moving average. It could turn green and go all the way back up as high as that trend line on the daily chart there. It could, right? So that's an area of interest as well. So now we got mixed signals and mixed information about Apple. Okay, so what we're going to do here is go long on Apple now, based on the change of information, based on the crossover of the 820 and 50, where price is on the 2-minute, on the 30-second chart looking bullish, and it crossed over the 8 and the 20 on the 5-minute chart. Based on that information, we're going to try to go long and use this impulsive wave with high volume as our stop loss. I hope this works. We need at least a price target of either the 50 moving average right here on the 5-minute chart, which is around this area, 192.41, or the 20 moving average up here on the 15-minute chart, which is 192.35. So those are our targets to get out of some of it. All right, we kept trailing as tightly as we could, hitting those targets on the moving averages, and finally on the 200 moving average here, getting out of everything. And it looks like it wants to keep going, but that's a lesson to maybe hold a little piece forever, and that I need to get. But I'm happy with the results. We're break even for the day in terms of the losses that we had from NVIDIA and the profits from Apple. We tend to balance out the day. All the losses came from a trade that was very mixed, very inconsistent in the direction, hard to determine the direction, and then all the profits came from a trade where all the charts and moving averages were pointing to a particular direction. So I need to start trading, picking my trades a lot better.